Welcome back, everyone, to the LJL Academy and the officially unofficial stream coverage. We've had our first game, and we have seen our first burgeoning unbeaten streak broken by V3 as the Hawks were laid bare. That was a pretty brutal game. I mean, for anyone who missed it, Swan, any takeaways from game one?
Don't pick Virus into Bronze and Zhao. V3 really good at team fighting.
All right,
there we go. That's the cliff notes. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, it worked extremely well. So we go into our second game. So Sengoku versus Burning Core. So again, this is going to be, teams with a lot to prove coming into this one. Burning Core going 1-1 in day one at Sengoku with only the single one. Let's take a look at what players we've got on our hands for this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, coming into this one, the matchup I'm most excited to look about is probably this bot lane. We got Akabuff, who had a pretty solid 2 games in a row, even though they only went 1-1. Really excited to see more out of them. The fact that they're also playing Ziggs and Tristana, like they're already flexing, showing some AP champions. Really exciting for the future. Over on the other side, though, Nani, he had that Kalista play that almost felt like there's maybe a chance that they could have lived a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, they were really the only player against Axis who was able to get a decent scoreline coming out of that game. And of course, that's all the more impressive when your team is falling to pieces around you. Of course, if you're watching yesterday, you would have seen Floor as well, the jungler for Burning Core Academy, managing to salvage the game along with Creative. The Diana Yasuo combo managing to win out a Baron fight after the Baron was actually taken by the opposing team.
Yeah, the fact is, this side of Burning Core, the expectations are a lot higher on them than the expectations on Sengoku Gaming. And I'm just going to make it very clear why that is. There are members on the side of Burning Core who have been signed on the team for about coming up to their 2nd year at this point. They have been around for a while on this team. Akabuff is probably the longest tenured member. There's a lot of players on the side, though, of Burning Core who have been around and have been practicing and trying to be prospecting talent. Whereas Sengoku Gaming, a lot of their players were only signed at most 30 days ago. A lot of them were 12 days ago. There's a lot of new synergy going against something that has already been defined. Will Burning Core's experience do that, or will Sengoku actually end up overthrowing them and going, your synergy doesn't matter, we're just better? We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, certainly from what we saw from Burning Core Academy, it felt like, talking about the Diana and Yasuo again, that kind of combo play had been very practiced. They trusted each other to do that. But when it came to their second game of the day for Burning Core, when that Diana was banned away, the Toronto kind of stepped in as a substitute Diana. It didn't work anywhere near as well.
Yeah, but it was also versus V3. So the thing is, that's what I don't know if I should be, but that's partly where I'm now putting all of my thoughts into. I'm like, yeah, that game happened, but that was V3, and the first 30 minutes of that game was pretty cool. Like, it was a tight game. There was a lot of fighting. Burning Core didn't roll over. It kind of went how I expected. I thought V3 would win. I thought Burning Core would put up probably a pretty good fight. The fact is that was day number 1 of our series. I wish we had that game for day number 4 or 5 instead. Would have been miles better. Both these teams would have ramped up and we probably would have had a banger. But hey, we got a day 1 and we just get to sight of things to maybe see for the future.
All right, let's get into that game number 2, see what they got for us. Notable in the previous game, of course, is we saw both Leona and Lee Sin, 2 very high priority picks, ultimately not getting the job done for the Hawks. Where are the picks you're looking for this game 2?
I mean, that Diana is shared between both of them. That's why it's been banned out. The Ezreal, I'm really interested to see, as both these Academy players do play Ezreal. Camille is also going to be a very important one, but Poppy as well is a shared champion between 2 of these top lanes, as is Renekton. So it's going to be interesting to see the direction we do see from some of these players. Though I'm not too surprised that Akinu the mid laner for Sengoku, that some of his champions are getting pinged. Same thing for creative. Mid lane is getting very spicy right now. 3 bans, honestly, from the side of Sengoku Gaming. They are very concerned for creative. Thresh, still open. Xin still open. LeBlanc now gets taken away. There's a lot of high priority junglers. Supports still around. Leona, remember, is around and highest priority champion currently when it comes to presence, though that is a Viego, and the fact that we didn't see him last game is almost a travesty in and of itself.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was one of the picks that were able to pull out the incredible performance in day number 1. So it gets locked down as the priority. So Aki will be able to get that work done, going up against Floor in the jungle for Burning Core. They did see what the Aphelios was capable of in the previous game. Will they go for it themselves?
Well, it's also a champion that I didn't actually have down in my notes for Akaba, so I'd love to see an Aphelios coming out of them, and they're actually picking it. Okay, so this is going to be very interesting because that is now a takeaway now from Nani, but both, let's be real, most of these AD carries are probably going to have very similar champion pools because that's just the role. Though this Leona remains 100% presence, and we didn't see a Thresh. Guys, Thresh, it's kind of broken right now. I'm just gonna put it out there. You guys should be playing it. It's gonna be interesting to see the response though for Sengoku Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we saw that playing the disengage style certainly works very well for V3, and they're gonna look like they're adopting the same style, Sengoku. So they will too bring out the Braum, and it looks like they might be looking to ice up our hearts just a little bit more if they lock in the Ashe for even more crowd control.
Yeah, lethal tempo Ashe is something that is far more tried, true, and tested, especially with the Q steroids that you get, the Freljordian combo that is that bot lane. It's annoying. I'm just gonna put it out there. There's a lot of slows, a lot of stuns, a lot of CC. If one of these 2 bot laners gets caught out, it could be pretty difficult to escape. This is why Thresh is highly picked with something like an Aphelios, so you can just play a little bit further back, Lantern, and pull them away. Burning Core, I'm not what? We're just blind picking a Cassiopeia mid?
Well, I mean, this is a change of pace.
That is creative.
Yeah, there we go. Living up to their name. They had the chance to go for the Yasuo once again, and Sengoku left it open for them, definitely not fearing the pick. But Burning Core, they've now got the chance to bring out some bans to try and protect the Cassiopeia in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, creative did just blind Yasuo in both of the games yesterday. He's just built differently. I just can't appreciate the power of this man's brain. Though we are now getting bans coming out from this mid lane, these 2 mid laners are going to be pushing their champion pools. It's not too surprising because Burning Core are going to ban another mid laner here. Let me try and see if I can guess this one before the timer goes. I'm going to assume it's going to be the Kassadin. I think it's going to be Kassadin or Vladimir. No, Zoe? Sure, whatever. That's just whatever. Why are we banning a Zoe when we're not playing a poke comp? I don't understand Burning Core. No. Okay. Jungle.
I guess there's still a lot to there's still development on all sides of the spectrum. We're talking about we got Roki coaching there for Burning Core, and oh my gosh, I realized I put myself in a position to try and pronounce that name.
Yutori Muashi.
Oh, there we go. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, it's the tried and true AD carry that I was praising earlier in the show, sir. It is. He has moved from retired. He retired from the LJL and then has switched in and become the Sengoku Gaming's academy coach after being one of the best professional players in the region for a very long time. There's that Xin Zhao that we were talking about earlier as well.
Yeah, it worked extremely well before. Now we'll be on the opposing side from the Braum, so maybe not quite as strong in the combo potential. We know that it's up against the Viego, which is very powerful in of itself. Let's see what the Sengoku mid lane ends up being after taking multiple bans. It could be the Rise. We were a little bit disappointed in the Rise in the previous game, but apparently Sengoku still have the faith.
All right, Renekton.
That's a prediction.
That's my prediction, that or Gnar. I prefer Renekton, but Gnar's also fine. It's less good into a Xin Zhao, but it's totally fine. You don't have all of the deterrents like we saw from the previous game for V3 Esports. It's going to be a Camille. It actually makes a lot more sense because both these top laners are Camille players, so why not just play the comfort champ?
Yeah, and you've been waiting for this Camille to actually turn up for quite a long time.
Wait, 8 games, and all these top laners play it.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah. Well, we got a ban as well yesterday. Maybe there was a blanket ban and we didn't hear about it. But Gwen to play against it. Okay.
Yeah, I have to wonder if maybe the teams had an agreement between themselves to say we'll save ourselves a ban by just soft banning it outside the game. So yeah, Gwen into the Camille. We've got the full picture of what both teams are giving us here. And this is a game where both teams, but Sengoku and Burning Core, are looking to try and further their fortunes. What do you think of the teams coming together now?
Well, I'm going to be interested in this top lane matchup because we've got TP Ignite for both of these top laners. We've got Cleanse Flash for both of these AD carries. Actually, everyone is mirroring their opposite except for Chillin and oh no, he's changed his name and I haven't actually. Oh no, it is Peacock. They've gone Exhaust versus an Ignite, so that's the only difference. A lot of these are going to be very interesting mirror matches. I think I'm more excited for top lane because I've been waiting for a Camille in the LJL Academy for so long. I'm just happy I saw a ban last round as well. Oh, thank God.
All right, so in terms of, I mean, we'll definitely come back to the Camille in detail because I'm fascinated to hear your thoughts on it. But in terms of what the teams are going for overall, what are their styles here? How do they match up into each other?
So Sengoku should be playing a 4-1 comp, either with Camille or Ryze on the front, on the side lanes, with the rest of them also playing around one another. They also have the luxury of if Viego gets absolutely humongous, they can just play a 4-1 with that. They have a lot of picks, but they're definitely going to be wanting to try and do side lane pressure, have either Ryze or Camille on the back, on the flank, and then play a front to back team fight. For the side of Burning Core, they just want to do front to back team fights. That is all they're interested in doing. They do have an Aphelios to try and deter anyone that tries to get on them really quickly. But honestly, the side of Sengoku Gaming are pretty happy for them to do that. So if they last out the Xin Zhao ultimate, this should be pretty free for the side of Sengoku Gaming in my eyes. But that's where it's all in my eyes. Gwen can get invulnerable, Xin Zhao can go invulnerable, Cassiopeia can stun you for days, as can a Leona and Aphelios. Well, how many years do we need to see? We saw it yesterday and today already. Jesus.
It's
God.
Yeah, so the
So
days they
years.
all start to blur together over so many years. Yeah, exactly as you said. So now we've had a chance to talk about the teams overall. Let's get to, of course, the best part of the discussion, which is Camille. Why is she so good? We don't, of course, you don't have the answer of why she didn't get picked up into this point, but why should she have been picked up into this point?
Because all these top laners have their most played champions in solo queue on Camille, and it's not even close for a lot of these top laners. I don't even know how good the champion is realistically in this metagame. I think she's fine. I think she looks a lot better when you actually have counter pick ability. But when you're just kind of not picking a champion because you're comfortable with it is just weird that we went a whole day without it. Finally that we're seeing it. We also saw a ban in game number 1, so hopefully that's a sign of things to come. We can start getting a lot more of these skill-based 1v1 top lane matchups. Camille, a few of these players play a lot of Fiora as well, so we could start seeing some dueling and blood action in the top lane. We haven't seen much, but a Wukong yesterday as well from Yellow Yoshi, as you've already mentioned before. That's a nice one that you can have dueling. I'm excited to see where are you going with it, Counterfeit.
I mean, I'm definitely excited to see what they've got for us here. I believe we've actually got the start of the game ready, so let's get into things. Sengoku versus Burning Core. Both of these teams need to better their records significantly in day number 2, both with a loss so far. But you're right, I'm fascinated to see where the big fighting comes through. I mean, from where you're saying, Master One, is it the top lane which has got the most potential to be explosive early on, or are there any other places we should be keeping our eyes closely on?
Jungle. Jungle's the other big one to be following. Obviously, Viego you can do reset city, you can do crazy dirty things. Obviously, Viego can scale into absolutely utter late game into anything, as well as also he can just be very impactful at level 3, level 4 when you get that stun where you do ganks. And the thing is, Sengoku Gaming have great setup in that bot lane. So follow these junglers. It's going to be important where they're pathing going. At the moment, it looks like Viego is going to be pathing topside. I imagine he'll do blue buff straight to red buff, do chickens, try and get scuttle or golems, and then try and come into this bot lane. But Peacock, you are known.
There. So Akabuff is going to be able to walk out here. It looks like a level 1 fight is brewing in the bottom side. I don't know if Sengoku actually want to fully go for this. We do know. Oh no, they do. They fully want to go for this one.
He's got it.
Akabuff forced to cleanse immediately. Does hold on to their flash, but what an amazing trade for Sengoku to start up our game 2.
Absolutely huge. That's Hail of Blades coming out, ladies and gentlemen, more than anything else. And now look at the side of Burning Core. They've been zoned off at level 1 from their lane, and honestly, they're well aware they need to play a huge respects there. We still don't even have 1 CS for Akabuff, and his mid laner has 8. That's I know wave stacking and everything else, but that is kind of oppressive. The fact that they've already blown their cleanse as well. There's a lot of action happening all around. There we go. We get to see the pathing. They know exactly where Floor is at the moment. He started blue buff and he's going topside. So guess what? This bot lane is going to play very aggressive from Sengoku Gaming into Burning Core's bot lane. And guess where? That's where Viego is pathing down to. I would not be surprised if we see a very early dive onto them. But you already showing where he's got these mechanics, so they're able to actually take it to Yellow Yoshi.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job of trading. Of course, this is something we haven't really sort of mentioned specifically up until this point for Sengoku. Certainly, as much as they've been dominating down this bottom side because of that very smart early play, we've got great, kind of global and semi-global potential for them as well. With the Ash Arrow, with the Realm Warp, from the Rise as well, for Sengoku to take any early advantage they do get and extend it across the map.
Yeah. They're going to need to definitely push any advantages they do get. There is that Viego getting that Scuttle Crab. It is going to be a 1-for-1 on the Scuttle department, but if these junglers get level 4, sadly, yeah, Viego is going to get seen on this ward here. Floor probably well aware to be known on this top side, especially when Yoshi goes missing from the lanes. They're going to hopefully tell Rise to back off and don't go a bit too deep, because if you play too far in your mid lane, you might just be collapsed upon faster than you think. Thankfully, that nothing has happened, and actually everyone's just doing a very polite laning phase again.
Well, I mean, as things kind of simmer down a little bit from the very explosive start this 2v2 bottom lane gave us, I'm having my thoughts turn towards Floor. If any of you guys were watching yesterday, Burning Core Academy did beat Rascal Jester Academy, but it was a very close thing, and only thanks to Floor making this huge play, which allowed the entire game to turn around. It definitely feels like for Floor, they've got a lot of pressure on them to perform to that same level here in day 2.
Yeah, Floor is definitely a huge carry for the side of Burning Core Gaming, or Burning Core. They just need to be able to keep finding these opportunities, and currently Floor just isn't finding that at the moment. The side of Sengoku are just very good at warding around, and at the same time, they're also against another very good jungler, so it's going to be important to see that. Not that obviously all the junglers aren't very good. They are. Their prospecting talents is just going to be important to see kind of how the development goes, how adaptation happens, and where these junglers can find their spots. At the moment now, though, if you look at the only advantage really on the map is currently in this bot lane, and you could argue that was all started from that level 1.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was... I'm definitely going to remember that one. I think I'm going to try that in my solo queue games. Just, as much as... it was... Maybe it won't work multiple games in a row for Sengoku now that they've played that card, that people will just, play to the other side of the lane, but it certainly gave a very, very strong start. I mean, we're passing the 5-minute mark, and unlike many of the other games we've seen so far here in the Academy League, we've got no kills. We haven't got a major CS discrepancy except down in this bottom lane, and it's kind of being evened out a little bit in the mid for Burning Core. Which of these teams do you feel like is doing the best out of slowing the pace down for the most part?
I mean, I don't actually think either of these teams are actually accelerating it any further than what they could be. Their junglers have done a full clear. They're now doing a well, they're starting to do their second clear. There's just no one really trying to find anything. I imagine both sides are relatively comfortable with going to the mid game point. There's a Rise on one side who will outscale most things, except for things like Cassiopeia, but then they've got a Viego, which kind of helps fulfill a lot of the issues that you'd have in that kind of domain. And then the bot lane, they're like, well, they have an Aphelios, but we have an Ashe, and Ashe is actually really good at dealing with an Aphelios, because guess what? If you can't beat him in raw damage output, just CC him forever. Just say no. Do not allow. You don't get to go past go. I have a Braum. He's going to stun you. He's going to knock you up. We're going to do this really obnoxious thing. And also, I've got a shield, so I don't have to worry about the damage you're outputting, as opposed to a Leona who needs to get a lot of help. Obviously needs to assist their AD carry to do that. Sengoku are going to get this first one, but it's a Cloud Drake, mate. Who cares for Cloud Drakes? What's your favorite Drake?
Cloud Drake.
Oh, you're a Vape Nation, man. All right, I see it.
I feel bad for Cloud Drakes because people are always, always roasting that Cloud Drake.
It was good for a period, remember, when Udyr chem tanked meta at the early parts of of season 11, when that was the main thing. People actually liked it because it enabled Udyr to go faster and had his abilities up more often. It was like a weird time where it was actually good to get Cloud Drakes. After that, everyone was like, yeah, no, let's go back to good Drakes, everybody, please.
Well, I mean, it does, I guess the good news, even if you don't like the Cloud Drake, is that, like, getting it, first of all, that you're guaranteeing yourself you're not going to be getting a Cloud Soul long term. And you're also moving closer to getting that soul, wherever it ends up being. His floor does get a little bit found out here, so this is some of the power. Fortunately, they've got the Speed Shrine to be able to keep themselves safe, but it felt like Sengoku were almost able to collapse on floor there, and maybe they could have if they committed.
Oh, I mean, that was very unlucky. He was pixels away from getting stunned before even hitting in that scuttle. So if that hit, if the Viego stun hit, that was definitely a damn good shot that it probably would have been. But now Viego might get collapsed upon. It's a dance. We're doing a scuttle dance. We're doing a herald dance, and neither bot lane has remotely moved. So we're going to be doing this dance for a while.
Floor is up in the top side to try and turn this top lane matchup, which has been even up until this point. Yu takes a ton of damage on First Blood. No, sorry, not First Blood. First Blood and Second Blood secured in almost simultaneous fashion there, as it's a dive under the tower. Baki able to escape out, though doesn't take the form of Cassiopeia doing so. Still Burning Core come out ahead and even out the gold.
Yeah, Xin Zhao gets that first blood, and immediately Creative does get it in the mid lane. Probably would have preferred it to be the opposite way around, honestly speaking, but let's see how this one went down. So this is just a really clean Cassiopeia flash ult, gets the full stun duration, and then obviously it's just getting picked up afterwards. So yeah, okay, fair enough. Oh, actually, okay, well, I feel like if Aki didn't walk away, like walk backwards after getting the first few, he might have not needed and then throw down the shade. I think he might have been able to actually not have to flash for that.
Yeah, that was strange. It felt like Aki had kind of given up on the play, but maybe that was just a fake out to try and get Creative to lower their defenses. Certainly, we are left in a situation where we have no flashes available across the entire top of the map, because of course the top lanes didn't even start with flashes, but no flashes for junglers, no flashes for the mid lane. I feel like we're in a situation where we can have some real big decisive plays coming.
I'm also just a little in shock at where Yu's health bar went during that exchange in top lane. I was like, I feel like Yu was going to live a little bit longer, but no, that's what happens when Xin Zhao does get his full combo off. There is a fair bit of burst afterwards, but thankfully the side of Sengoku Gaming are still in a pretty good spot. Gold is identical, even with them giving first blood over and only getting one kill back. They're identical, though a lot of that identical nature is coming because there is a disparity in the top lane, in the jungle, because there is a lot of gold currently on floor at the moment. That is just going to be checked off in a moment when they do cash in this Rift Herald. But the advantage for the side of Sengoku is in this bot lane at the moment, because look at that. Just look at the gold lead at the moment. You can just see through CS.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge amount of advantage gained from just that early play. Heck above, I think it's got a lot more of those 200 years to worry about. of course, we've got the next Drake coming up, so it's going to be Infernal to go on top of that Cloud Drake. So for Sengoku, they've got that little bit of ultimate haste. Nothing too much as of yet to write home about. Yellow Yoshi going to be going for a little bit of aggressive jungle invade. Actually looking to hunt down Aki, which may be a mistake here because it seems like they're the ones being hunted now. Here's the collapse, which was threatened before. Maybe a mistake here, as you talked about it before. It's a hugely telegraphed ability, that Realm Warp. Nice cross-map play with the arrow, though, sets up you to go for the combo that resets. You does get deleted, though. Aki is still up and alive. We know what a Viego can do. Given the opportunity, they've stolen the identity of the Cassiopeia. Yoshi, struggling to get away across the wall, just about manages it. And oh my gosh, that could have been even worse.
Okay, sorry, I am now returning. I saw half of that team fight. Apologies about that. What? Okay, Creative died. Are we getting a replay? What happened?
Oh, right. Okay, yes. So, the Rise Realm Warp was immediately counteracted by Burning Core, who were able to collapse on a nearly kill, but not quite. And then, of course, Aki came in at the end and just did, hashtag Viego things, cleaning up the fight and almost turning it single-handedly.
Oh, so Reset City happened. Oh, okay. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. We are getting a TP down from this Rise now. So, well, I mean, free department, I guess. Huh. Well, this is what I did describe could happen for Sengoku Gaming with this. Well, with a Rise, obviously it's heavily signposted where you're going with that Realm Warp. But, oh, looks like you might be getting dived.
Yeah, there's the Rift Herald coming into the top lane. We've got the collapse in, though we do see there's the ward. They're actually spotting out what Bunny Core are doing ahead of time. Yellow Yoshi reading that there are reinforcements coming, backs off of the play. Bunny Core will just have to settle for that placing that the Herald got.
Yeah, and the moment that they see the Viego mist go down, it's like, well, how much do we want to commit? Because whereabouts is he? And while this is 11.16 Viego, it's not the new Viego on 11.17, which has got the mist range changed. So how does this go down? Okay, so Realm Walk heavily signposted. They immediately collapsed upon this Rise, but oh god, no way. No. Oh my god,
this is the turning point.
Oh my god, so it's immediately on the Cassiopeia, so they just get to not have to deal with her. She does get the ultimate down, but it doesn't matter because guess what? There's just so much damage coming through and Reset City comes down. Jeez, yeah, okay. Oh wow, okay, and there's also just mechanics on this jungler, so we can actually play every champion. Okay. Well, that's even more terrifying. That's
the price of entry to be able to play Viego, of course. I guess it's a real great way to get inside your opponent's head, which of course is going to be very valuable in the Academy League, to be able to play their champion better than they can in the same game that they are playing their champion.
Yeah, just ask the question, hey, can you play better than this? It's always funny when junglers kill the enemy Lee Sin jungler, and then they start trying to do the other jungle Lee Sin mechanics, and it's just like, oh god, that everyone's just comparing themselves to one another, and it's I'm better than you, and I'm a show off, and I'm like, fair, you should do that, because if you feel confident with yourself on the stage, keep going. The lead that we saw in this bot lane has started to slowly wane. Ashe hasn't been able to really capitalize on that early game, and Akabuff has been quietly farming, so there is a good element back into this game, and Burning Core is still in a very comfortable position. While they are 2 Drakes down, it's not an awful spot to be in.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, Burning Core, they've actually got the mythic advantage right now, though.
Yeah.
We have got double Divine Sunderer set up there for Sengoku, so certainly that top lane has a lot of punch, and maybe that's why we're seeing Aki hanging around that top side ahead of the second Herald spawn.
You said they're getting stronger to the first punch. What kind of flavor is the punch?
Oh, I think there might be a little bit of alcohol in this punch.
Oh yeah,
because we're seeing a lot of drunken boxing in this game.
But we haven't got any blind monks, sadly, so we're gonna have to see something else.
Well, how do you think they ended up going blind?
Oh, Rift Herald.
All right, so Goku, they're strong right now. Yellow Yoshi going for the 1v1, but no, it's not a 1v1. It's all a gap. As we do see you getting deleted very quickly, but the Glacial Fissure is able to turn the fight around, but this is 200 years later. Akabov comes charging in, flashing forward. Look at that damage. It's almost done there. Nana is dropped as well in a huge fight. The Rift Herald, the catalyst before for Sengoku. This time, it's Burning Core who clean up.
Yellow Yoshi, take a bow, sir. Floor as well, because you two with the Mist and the Zinzao Ultimate just prevented all of Sengoku's damage. Actually, most of the damage output that came out there, because guess what? Sengoku definitely put out a huge amount. The problem is it was onto impenetrable targets. They were invulnerable. So what you were doing was pointless, though I do love this. You finding a really good spot onto Yellow Yoshi. The problem is they stay around for a little bit too long outside of harass, and then so much damage. Multiple years comes out, and then look, they're not doing anything. They're not doing any damage to anybody, because guess what? Their initial burst damage that they did have got nullified by Mist from Gwen and Zinzao Ultimate, and then afterwards it's just a cleanup crew for Burning Core. Akabuff must be feeling absolutely giddy right now, as must Creative. Oh my god!
I thought that Akabov only got a single kill out of the last one, but did the majority of the damage as the Herald is dropped down in the mid lane. So that's going to be a way for Burning Core to get back, presumably, the mid lane tower. As long as, no, you don't do this to me again, Burning Core. I know you hate Rift Heralds, but no, it does at least get through. But the play is there for Sengoku. There's a nice Leonia ult coming through as Yellow Yoshi tries to buy space. Realm Warp will bring Sengoku back out of the play. But Burning Core, they're backing off. While they've taken most of the health bars of Sengoku, it doesn't look like they want to follow the play any further.
Well, this Mountain Drake's on. That's why they don't want to push too far. They want to let them reset. But guess who's got TP to come back in? It's Rise.
That tower is almost gone, but it stands for now. Burning Core Sengoku, round 2. It's time for another scrap. And you pointed out before, Akabuff is incredibly strong. They need to be kept safe, though, as Yu is chased out the tail end of the fight. This is not a good fight for Sengoku. The Drake goes down. Sengoku get nothing out of it. Their health bars are low. And I think, honestly, are lucky to get away without losing anything more.
Absolutely, and I think actually this is a really good spot where we can kind of make a small little criticism towards a team. So something we saw for periods of time from lower level LJL teams was the incessant honesty to just watch your opponent do objectives. You know what I mean by that? You just go, oh no, I'm not going to do this objective. We have nothing to even contest you, but we're going to watch you because we're going to make sure you do it. It was a bit of a meme in LCS for a period of time, and LJL lower teams definitely had that same problem. Sengoku just did that. Like, they just watched Burning Core do that, whereas they could have probably rotated around to top side and maybe try and do something there. Imagine if Rise had just gone top. Maybe that turret in top lane takes more damage. Maybe something happens, but there's a dive now in Creative.
Nice! Oh, under the tower to try and stop, but Creative is taking a ton of damage. Flashing under the tower, looking for the reset, but no! Creative gets the 1v2. What an absolute beast. And the arrow comes through. It misses by a hair. That was a pretty sweet arrow. And a pause, because of course there's no way that Nino actually missed that one.
I love the fact that we saw that. It was huge. We did get the DC coming, but potentially because of observers, that could just be the game ending. So we will have to pen and wait. See, Counterfeit, this is our second pause. We've actually, we're the only ones that deal with pauses on the Academy, apparently.
Well, it's because, you know, obviously the teams want to perform their very best for us at all times. So even the sniff of impropriety is immediately stamped down on. You're going to make sure that there's no questions whatsoever. But this has been a fantastic second game for us. It really felt like we were going to be seeing it really heavily swinging to start with. And then Burning Core's comeback has been equally impressive as well.
I mean, I think this just shows to the credit of Axis as well, because remember, both these teams have played against top teams. We've already seen Burning Core. They played against Rascal Jester. They had a messy game, but eventually, well, at least in my opinion, and you can get my full thoughts on my video, I'm going to do these plugs a few times more. I actually felt like I never was going to see Burning Core lose, or at least I didn't want them to lose against Rascal Jester, because they were the more tenured team. If you sign a player for almost 2 years, they should be better than the players you've signed over the last few months. just gonna put that out there. But Sengoku and Axis had a really competitive game, and it was hard to kind of gauge where Sengoku were. It was like, is Axis just really good at team fighting and Sengoku had everything else? Or was it something else entirely? Coming into this, Burning Core have been pushed a fair amount. That early game play for Sengoku, it's been going on through this whole game, and while now Burning Core are coming back in, I mean, Sengoku still feel it. Like, I'm really excited, dude. I want this game again. Give me the game.
All right. Well, I mean, it's kind of nice we've actually got a pause here because there's so much to talk about in this game, which I really want to kind of go over with you. I guess the first thing, and this might be a little bit like a jab, but it's still the reality. The Camille, we're really excited to see it. Hasn't really worked out so far for Sengoku.
No, and they've not even been playing the side very well. They've just kind of rotated around. They're doing a lot more. This Gwen has been more impressive. In this game, the Mist has been really important to just kind of preventing the enemy team, especially that top lane team fight around first Rift Herald. Yeah, this Camille just hasn't been impactful. It is going to be important to see if they scale and how they play the side lanes, but Gwen is also really good at doing that. I would argue maybe better. So awkward sauce.
Well, you bring up the Gwen, I think you made a really good point about how we've got these two incredible forms of denial there. We've got the Gwen Mist and the Crescent Guard from Xin Zhao. Presumably, if you're fighting in a confined area, as we did see that 5v5 fight in a very small corridor, then you just can't do anything if you're Sengoku until those abilities expire.
And it's really hard because guess what? Burning Core, these are two abilities that's really easy to just stack one after another. As we do come back into this game, yeah, nothing new.
So if you're Sengoku, you know that you've, certainly as far as range attacks go at least, which admittedly is only two members of your team, but they are ostensibly the two damage dealers. So if you can't get Rise and Ash damage through the Mist or through the Crescent Guard, what would you think would be the best approach to Sengoku to try and minimize that, that kind of effective AoE denial power that Burning Core have?
So I would just play long, drawn-out team fights. There is just going to always... Ooh, okay, so what are we seeing here?
Oh, this is the 1v2.
Okay, yeah, so this is just creative coming back up. Is this why we had the pause? Because all of this looks really fair. I guess maybe they were questioning the turret aggro that happened there, but Viego very much dropped turret aggro and then they switched around. But oh god, Realm Warp.
Well, we're seeing the replay because it was last week on the Academy League. Creative B collapsed on by every single member of Sengoku. They were not happy with that 1v2 and they're going to turn it into an instant Baron. Though we do have a very low health Braum there, so that could turn very quickly. TP coming in from the back from Yellow Yoshi as Yu goes down low as well. The 4v5 fight. Burning Core, I think they must be happy just to cancel out this Baron because they've got very little vision of exactly where Sengoku are standing.
Yeah, and I mean, it ended up pulling Yellow Yoshi and getting that teleport out. So guess what? They traded teleport for teleport, but Sengoku were able to get the kill, and now they're cleaning out the vision, and now they just get to reset at their heart's content. They get first back onto that map. Look at where that Gwen is at the moment. She's just running to that top side. Yu is currently rotating around, going to that bot lane. They're going to probably try and push that out and get turrets, whereas obviously turrets have been traded already in the top side, so there's no reason to hang around there for any longer. Sengoku still have a few turrets to collect, so hey, this is currently net gain Sengoku. They got the kill, they got around, and they reset first.
I guess, so the thing coming out of that one was that presumably, that was something that Creative didn't see coming, the possibility of having the entirety of Sengoku collapsing from multiple different angles and then going straight onto the objective.
How often do you expect to get 5-man dive counterfeit in your games, or are you just leaving an existential dread?
I'm always, even when I'm just not playing League of Legends, like, am I about to get ganked? Is this the end of things? But this feels like it's a problem for Burning Core. The fact that this was even possible at all, it's pretty wild.
The thing is, like, they're on vision right here, right now. Like, the two members that came and hit creative initially were on vision. Like, this shouldn't have been too unexpected from them. It's interesting that they decided to start doing the Baron because they did kill the Cassiopeia, so you did have potentially the best champion that is able to do this. So they just went for it, but A bit hopeful if you ask me, but Burning Core are on the hunt now from the looks of things.
Yeah, perhaps they're looking to avoid getting dived around the Baron again by establishing their own vision again in that left-hand quadrant, certainly pushing out the mid. We do know that Burning Core, they've got the tower advantage, having the tier 1 in both top and mid lane, so they're putting the pressure on in the top lane, pushing that minion wave out, and they're turning back to Baron, but they are on vision right now. Sengoku know what is happening, and they're actually not going to contest it. Aki's nowhere nearby.
They should definitely still, though, kill that dragon. Yes, get the dragon now. Let's rotate around, do something. They baited with the realm, but yeah, okay. Oh,
there is the crowd control chain. This will mean that Picard will lose the Baron buff as the recalls from Burning Core as they try and desperately get out. We do have Sengoku on to Soul Point now, but they exchange it for the raw gold of the Baron. It feels like Burning Core, even losing that kill, still come out ahead, even dropping the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, I mean, this tier 1 tower was going to go down at some point, so this is kind of like well, it was going to go down at some point. It's going to be important, though, of these next 2 minutes that Burning Core can try and capitalize on something, because we're saying everything here is fine for Burning Core, with the assumption that they're going to be able to find a few buffs, a few net gains. Currently, I don't actually know a good spot where they can do it outside of getting this bot lane turret. And after getting a bot turret, like a bot outer turret, you kind of don't care. It's a tier 1 turret. It's gonna go down at some point. It's a formality. So unless they can crack open Sengoku's base, this Baron just kind of feels like, well, I guess we're funneling gold into Sengoku at this moment in time because the dragon's already down. It was a weird trade. I'm surprised Burning Core went for it, but it's definitely puts them in a power spot for the next few minutes.
Well, I love seeing the Baron buff to gold difference here, because we can see that, we start off as a base of plus 1500 gold for getting the Baron at all. So right now, Burning Core in the negatives as to where they should be. They have at least got a little bit of time with the towers. They're pushing in 2 waves of Baroned up minions. Not a ton of damage being done to these tier 2 towers, though.
I mean, it's really hard, right? And then on the enemy side, you've got pretty decent wave clear. You have an Ashe. Ashe is pretty good at throwing a volley out. You've got a Rise, again, pretty good at doing that. Not the greatest ones. They're not Ziggs by any stretch of the imagination. They're not an Aphelios with a turret being thrown down. They're not even a Cassiopeia. So Burning Core do have the better wave clear.
And it seems like Akabuff the only one able to actually get any damage down onto the tower, and even that's very limited, with most of Sengoku there just providing that fantastic wave clear, as you pointed out from before. So this Baron buff so far, it's creeping back up to that 1500 where they should have started, but right, it's still going to be pretty disappointing for Burning Core to not be able to do more than that.
Yeah, and honestly, part of the reason that this has gone so well for them is because there was such a huge wave that the side of Sengoku Gaming had stacked in the top wave. That's already hit that top turret and now is resetting and going back. Yes, they've got a minor advantage and they've been able to secure a lot of this, but that's mostly because Sengoku Gaming have just been kind of forced to play under these 2 tier 2 turrets, and they lost their jungle camp. So Burning Core got some stuff that they wouldn't have got otherwise, but the problem is they won't have a Baron to play around for this next dragon. And Sengoku Gaming, while they're a few K gold down, they've not been playing like that. So I'm interested how this next team fight's going to play Counterfeit, because I honestly think things could be decided, because we're starting to get pretty late into this game now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got a lot of items coming in. Of course, you mentioned Burning Core. They've now got the gold advantage. Ultimately, the Baron power play ended up being, I think, decent old talks, considering especially how well Sengoku were defending that one. So we've got the items pouring in. The Collector is there for Akabuff. We've seen, certainly, how much damage can be done, and we actually see the gold per player. We see, of course, as we'd expect, both mid laners, both bot laners with a lion's share of the cash.
And I mean, that's where it should be, right? Like, this is how you win the game. You funnel the gold correctly. The only difference is Sengoku, I would argue, have a bit more flexibility on their side on how important it is to get the gold onto certain champions. You need them outside of Rise. really, who has got the most gold on the side of Sengoku Gaming, it's pretty much okay. Yes, you want your Ash to obviously get to 3-4 items, but once that happens, you're in great place. The only other one is Viego, right? Because Viego loves having items, but that's because he is literally the reset machine of Cityville and is the captain. And he wants you all to know that, because that's why this whole Mist thing exists, right? He wants everyone to know that he's the captain.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's the Mister.
Oh. I liked it, and then I really didn't like it.
My brain, it does these things. It should obviously go to jail for such crimes, but it still refuses to answer for such things, as we are now moving into the trade. Burning Core, they got the Baron. Sengoku didn't contest it and got the Drake instead, moving them on to Mountain Soul Point. TP coming in for Burning Core.
Flank.
Sengoku, if they can get the payoff here, there's a charge in. It's going to be concentrated on the single point, which we know is good. The round warp is going to be mostly denied. You come in from the back of the fight. Peacock sells their life across, as it's going to be a split fight. Yellow Yoshi trying to link back up with the rest of the team will die very quickly. Aki gets dropped though, which means no more reset machine. The Braum very low. And I think this will be the end of the Rise as well. A double kill in it for Aki. It's a clean, well, not a clean ace at all. It's a brutal ace for Burning Core, but there is no Mountain Soul for Sengoku.
Oh, the Xin Zhao ultimate saved so much there, but it almost wasn't meant to be. The Braum passive was night and day the savior there. If you're a Sengoku fan, that is your saving grace. But this all started through Yellow Yoshi on this flank. And the fact is that that Burning Core immediately went for it, applied the pressure, because they're like, hey, we can just keep going. They knew you wasn't going to be here for a while. And yes, while they came in, look at what Yoshi is doing at the moment. Multiple members. The Mist is just completely destroying any opportunity, and yes, while they collapse immediately after, look at the amount of damage output. They just go, they're absolute juggernauts. People get bursted, and then it just comes down to, well, who wins, a Rise boy with a very low Braum, or a different situation. Now obviously I think if the health bars are in a better spot for Sengoku, there's definitely a chance they win that one, but will it not? Oh my.
I mean, that is ridiculous. Akainu's Rise. Yeah, you mentioned the most gold on the team of Sengoku, and that damage numbers, they pretty much equaled both the Cassiopeia and the Aphelios' damage. I guess it's a testament to how well Burning Core divided up that fight, that those numbers can be true, but Sengoku still lost the fight.
Well, they did, and then even then after, they lost the dragon as well. And then the Baron buff is live, because imagine if they were able to get the Mountain Soul at the beginning of that fight. Just imagine a scenario where Sengoku burst it down, they get the Mountain Soul. There's a chance with that Braum being an extra bit tankier, with Rise being a bit tankier, with the extra shield as well that you get from the Mountain Soul, it goes a bit different. Like, legitimately having a few extra 100 HP, it can go very differently, but apparently we want to go for more.
You're just gonna wish they had those extra HP, because they're getting chunked and deleted right in front of the Baron pit, which is giving Burning Core the chance to go again. Sengoku, they're not going to try and contest this. This is Baron number 2 for Burning Core. The gold lead has started to blossom. Now it's in full bloom. Burning Core roaring ahead.
Well, Picotti was just playing guard duty. He was just like, yeah, don't worry. If they come here, we don't have to worry about it. But otherwise, they got the collapse on you. You is a huge part of their flanking line. And when that was taken away, Sengoku came and were like, well, we need to try something. Nani did throw out the Ash ultimate. It missing was probably the signal of the end of that whole fight for the side of Sengoku Gaming, and that Burning Core knew they could just take this. Issue is, they're in a very good spot to capitalize on this, because guess what? It's still a numbers advantage for them.
And we can see Yellow Yoshi's going to try and make full use of it to push in. We did see that Sengoku before, they used that great wave play, and Akainu is doing that again to try and keep the damage limited from this Baron buff. But, you know, by the end of that last Baron push, we did see the towers eventually fell down. The wave clear could only go so far. We have got the full team of Sengoku back up in the field. The mist expires, which means Burning Core can go take this tier 2 tower, the last remaining one, but they do make the catch. It's going to be a short shift there for Yoshi, but no, they survive somehow. Aki locks themselves in place and gets deleted. A huge pickup there, and Yoshi barely survives.
Oh, Gwen heals are just dirty as anything else. The fact is that they were able to dash away, and I think there was also an auto cancel from the Viego, so that might be also a really sad thing to have to watch back. We'll have to see that if that was the case in the replay. It looked like something weird like that happened. Viego's combos are getting mildly changed in the next patch, not at the moment, so shouldn't have that muscle memory destroyed, but this is just Siege City now if you're Burning Core.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Burning Core just charging through. We're a minute away from another Mountain Drake, so this would not be soul for Burning Core, but it would be another denial of the soul to Sengoku. Replay coming in now, so let's see how it went down.
Right, Aki, did you sadly do an auto cancel that I think, but look at also just the level disparity that's starting to come out. Yellow Yoshi is 17, his counterpart, 15. Huge amount of collapse here coming out immediately from them, and this is where I just assumed he was dead. Oh, they just never actually had the opportunity. He was thrown into the zone, and you as well just never had the opportunity. Oh, okay, so Yoshi was actually always safe there from the looks of things once he had popped everything. Huh, well, that's not a good sign for Sengoku Gaming. That actually went worse for them than I thought it was.
Yeah, all signs point to death, because Burning Core are way ahead, 7 towers to 2. We've got the next Drake come up, and I don't even know if Sengoku wants to even fight for this one. They are so far behind. Akanu, the only player right now who's really able to stand up in terms of raw power. Burning Core, they get the vision supremacy. You can see the Hawk shot coming across, but Sengoku, again, they're backing off of the objectives. They don't want to fight Burning Core at all.
Oh, why should they? Like, Burning Core can just keep stacking these Drakes up. Sengoku, I mean, it's not going to be fighting over this one, but the problem is you're going to have to fight over the next one, and Baron's going to be coming up before it. I do like how Burning Core decided to play that Baron. Basically force in, they were able to get 2 turrets and that inner inhibitor, and the moment that was done, they were like, well, we've got a minute, let's just clear their jungle, reset, and then be back on the map for it. And Chili, oh dear,
does
buddy.
at least manage to keep themselves alive for a second more by flashing away, but yeah, the follow-up is good from Burning Core, and it's a formality at this point. I think they might even be trying to feed the kill onto Agabuff here. No? Okay, no, Floor just trying to give us as much anticipation as possible. So we have got the attempted return, trying to make the catch. Nice use of the combo crowd control, but instantly Akabuff is there, pouring out the tons of damage. The way is open for Burning Core. Floor is trying to get the chase down, backs off for just a second. Nice use of the Crescent Guard to avoid getting killed in return, but we've got super minions here. We've got Burning Core with a ludicrously high gold lead. The mist is coming. This time it's from Burning Core. Creative grabs the kill. Nana is gone as well. It is a clean ace this time for Burning Core, and they win out triumphant over Sengoku, who now slip to a 0-2 record.
Yeah, wasn't perfect at that beginning. Sengoku definitely gave Burning Core a good fight there, but at the end, Burning Core well and truly took that one. And it felt rather convincing in the last 10-15 minutes of that game. The last 10 minutes for sure. That Baron fight, the few picks that they found, and it was like, oh, maybe Sengoku have a way into this. Sadly, though, the mist and Zinzao was just a bit too oppressive and the damage couldn't get put out. I'm also thinking about that 5th dragon fight as well, and the bot lane counterfeit. Like, that was just well played.
Oh my gosh. I mean, to touch back on the Zinzao and Gwen combination there, it makes me think if, potentially we could see that specific combo coming up later on, because, within the context of this tournament, we've got our own meta developing, our own, preferred champions for these players, our own preferred combos. So these teams, as much as they're learning themselves, they'll be learning it from each other, and hopefully we'll get to see even more. But enough about that last game, which, while fantastic for itself, we are not even halfway through our games today. So coming up, V3 Academy will be returning from game 1, up now against Axis for game number 3. Should be another hugely explosive game, so do stick around. Tons more games coming. V3 Axis coming up. We'll see you after the break.